13 days. For 13 days, he was lost in the vast, brutal terrain of the Australian wilderness. A massive search involving hundreds of people had scoured the mountainside, but hope was starting to fade. And then, a miracle. A 23-year-old was found alive, having survived on little more than 2 muesli bars and sheer will. This isn't just a story about being found. This is the story of what really happened after he vanished. What happens when the trail goes cold and you are utterly, terrifyingly alone. This is the full story of HADI NAZARI, a man whose incredible resilience was pushed to the absolute limit. It all began on what should have been a fun, routine hike with friends. On the afternoon of December 26th, in Australia's sprawling Kosciuszko National Park, HADI, an experienced hiker, peeled off from his 2 companions. He just wanted to snap a few photos of the breathtaking landscape along the challenging Hanel's Spur Trail. His friends pushed on, figuring they'd meet him back at the HADI campgrounds. But as the hours stretched into a cold evening, HADI never showed up. As darkness fell on Boxing Day, that feeling of casual adventure curdled into dread. HADI NAZARI was officially missing. He had a tent and a sleeping bag, but critically, no real food and only a small water bottle. What was supposed to be a short photo detour had spiraled into a nightmare. His friends didn't waste a second. They alerted the authorities, and a massive multi-agency rescue effort kicked into gear. From the first light, the scale of the operation was immense. More than 300 people, police, emergency services, and volunteers, began to systematically comb the unforgiving terrain. Helicopters sliced through the air, crews scanning the dense bushland below, while ground teams crawled through the undergrowth, fighting steep slopes and tangled vegetation. The Hanel's Spur Track is notorious for a reason. It's a place where one wrong turn can spit you out miles off course, into a maze of ridges and valleys. Days bled into a week. For HADI's family and friends holding a vigil at the command post, every passing moment was torture. They clung to hope, describing HADI as a fighter who would never give up. And fueled by that hope, the search teams pressed on in punishing conditions, racing against the clock. And then they started finding things. On New Year's Eve, searchers discovered his hiking poles and some rubbish about 4 kilometers from the campground. A few days later, another discovery near the HADI River, his camera gear, a lighter, and the remnants of a small campfire. These clues painted a picture. HADI was alive. He was moving and he was fighting. Inside the camera, they found a heartbreaking video message he had recorded for his family. In it, he apologized and said his goodbyes, believing he wouldn't make it out alive. For the searchers, it was devastating to hear, but it was also proof he was still out there. But the wilderness is huge, and after nearly 2 weeks, the odds were grim. The search area was massive, the terrain was treacherous, and a person can only survive for so long. The mood was somber. The chances of finding him alive were growing slimmer by the hour. What nobody knew was that HADI was fighting his own desperate battle for survival, completely unaware anyone was even looking. While hundreds of people searched for him, HADI NAZARI was trapped in his own world. After realizing he was lost, panic could have easily taken over. But HADI, a medical student with a sharp mind, fought to stay rational. His first priority was water. He knew he wouldn't last long without it, so he followed creeks, drinking the fresh mountain water that would become his lifeline. He just walked. From morning until night, he pushed his body to its absolute limits, the blisters on his feet a constant, throbbing reminder of his grueling journey. He foraged for wild berries, a tiny supplement to an almost non-existent diet. Days blurred together. The helicopters he saw buzzing overhead. In his mind, they were fighting nearby bushfires, not looking for him. At one point, he got so close to the fires he could hear the crackling of falling trees, all while screaming and waving his shirt, desperately hoping someone would see him. After a few days, he started to give up on the idea that anyone was still searching. Then he stumbled upon a miracle, a remote hiker's hut known as the Opera House Hut, one of the most difficult to reach in the entire park. It was a simple shelter, but inside he found the 2 items that would ultimately save his life: 2 muesli bars. For nearly 2 weeks, those 2 bars, along with wild berries and creek water, were all he had to eat. He even tried eating some mushrooms at one point but thankfully spat them out. The hut gave him shelter at night, but it also became a lonely outpost in the vast, silent wilderness. He was profoundly disoriented. The physical and mental toll of starvation and isolation was immense. He completely lost track of time. When the world outside marked 13 days since he vanished, Hadi thought only 6 had passed. He was exhausted, dehydrated, and utterly alone, surviving on the bare minimum, with no idea that just kilometers away, his family was holding a vigil, and hundreds of rescuers were still holding out hope. On January 8th, the 13th day, 3 friends were hiking near Blue Lake, about 10 kilometers from where Hadi was last seen. As they stopped to take in the view, they heard something faint on the wind. A voice. They scanned the valley below and saw a lone figure, a tiny dot moving slowly and yelling for help. They cautiously scrambled down the mountain toward him. As they got closer, the man called out, asking what the date was. When they told him, he was stunned, revealing he thought he'd only been missing for 6 days. It was HADI NAZARI. Overwhelmed and ecstatic, his rescuers immediately gave him food and water. His reaction was a mix of pure joy, utter exhaustion, and an immediate, pressing worry for his family. The news crackled over the radio to the search command post. "He's alive." A wave of joy and disbelief erupted through the entire team. A helicopter was dispatched, and soon, Hadi was being winched to safety. The first reunion was with his friends and cousin, an emotional embrace filled with shock and overwhelming relief. He was flown to a hospital, where he was treated for dehydration and severe blisters on his feet, but miraculously, doctors declared him to be in great condition. His family rushed to his side for a joyful reunion. From his hospital bed, Hadi released a statement thanking the hundreds of volunteers and rescuers who had searched for him. The entire nation celebrated what one official called an incredible outcome. Hadi's story is a mind-blowing testament to human resilience and the will to survive, but it's also packed with critical lessons. What do you think was the single most important decision he made that kept him alive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have a survival story you want us to cover, share it with our community. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more incredible true stories. So what really happened to the missing hiker? A simple mistake, wandering off to take a photo, spiraled into a 13-day fight for his life. He battled starvation, dehydration, and the crushing psychological weight of being totally alone. His survival came down to a few key things: his fitness and hiking experience, his smart decision to find and follow a water source, and an unbelievable stroke of luck in finding a hut with 2 muesli bars. But this story is also a stark reminder of how fast things can go wrong in the wild. Rescuers and survival experts point to a few crucial lessons from Hadi's ordeal. The first, and most critical, is to stay put if you get lost. Wandering, like Hadi did, makes it exponentially harder for search parties to find you. Second, always carry a personal locator beacon, PLB, a device that sends your exact location to rescuers with the push of a button. And finally, always tell someone your exact plans and stick to them. HADI NAZARI's story is one of incredible survival and resilience. It's about a man who, when faced with impossible odds, simply refused to give up. It's a tribute to the hundreds of searchers who refused to stop looking and a celebration of the hikers who just happened to be in the right place at the right time. It shows us that even when all hope seems lost, the human spirit, fueled by a little bit of luck and a whole lot of fight, can endure almost anything.